Did you want to take a break?
But when Peterson took the stand again last week, her biggest complaint was not being appreciated for making judicial history in Douglas County.
I'm the first African-American female and Democrat. Yes.
Any publications that you're aware of that ever acknowledged that fact?
I was never celebrated or congratulated. On my day of swearing in, I was sworn in by Judge Emerson. I received my first JQC complaint.
Several months later.
Probate Judge Christina Peterson is out of jail on bond, but facing a felony charge. 11 Elizabeth Beth Yates joining us outside the Red Martini Club in Buckhead, where Peterson was arrested early Thursday morning.
So many men out there, and the only person that helped was a woman.
Love says a man attacked her, and the only person who came to her aid was Douglas County Probate Judge Christina Peterson. And the same details are being echoed by another witness.
Focus is not the judge. The focus is the fact that this man attacked my friend.
Still, it was Peterson who was arrested and charged with a felony. This is Peterson's mugshot after being accused of assaulting an Atlanta police officer. She has since bonded out of jail, and now her attorney, Fulton County Commissioner Marvin Arrington, says she was wrongfully arrested.
The fiance of the judge's friend and another person are all eyewitnesses that will confirm what both the young lady who was being assaulted said and what her friend said, is that the judge had nothing to do, and they let the young man who was assaulting the lady go.
And Arrington is calling for the charges to be dropped.
The judge did nothing more than try to help.
All right, guys, so we got to talk about a bombshell story out in Georgia. Maybe some of you guys have already heard about this story because it is blowing up due to the fact that it seems as if we have another first black woman something that's in a position that she probably should not have been in. But you have people who are in some of these more liberal areas that are voting for people based off skin color, race, gender, sexuality, things that don't have to do with actual qualifications. And then lo and behold, you get an individual that not only is incompetent, but also corrupt. Okay. And that basically describes this story about Judge Christina Peterson, who is operating out in Douglas County, Georgia, near Atlanta. She became a probate judge just a few years ago, maybe in 2020, 2021. And she essentially started having a whole lot of chaos happen as soon as she took over as judge. Okay, I think that it is fair to characterize this woman as the Tiffany Henyard of judges. We all know Tiffany Henyard, the ghetto supermayor out in Dalton, and the supervisor of Thornton Township. This woman, again, is kind of like her, but as a judge. And lo and behold, this judge has been arrested for allegedly assaulting a police officer. Now, we have a whole lot of information to cover leading up to her arrest because this woman has probably been one of the most incompetent judges that we've ever seen. Okay, in fact, she's been found guilty of being systemically incompetent, right, by the judicial conduct panel down there in Georgia. Okay, and she's essentially already been kind of fired, but they're waiting for the Georgia Supreme Court to confirm that this woman will be pulled off the bench. We have yet to see if the Supreme Court will go along with it, but essentially this woman has basically already been fired and now she's arrested. But again, leading up to this, it was clear since the first day that she took office, maybe even before she took office, that, hey, she was corrupt. Like, for example, begging for money on social media, personal donations for her birthday, even though she is a judge.
Christina Peterson has only been a judge 6 months, but already she faces allegations she's brought, quote, disrepute upon her office. In a filing from the Judicial Qualifications Commission, the group that investigates complaints against judges, Peterson is accused of using her social media account to solicit cash donations for her birthday.
Public solicitation of gifts to a judge is extraordinarily problematic.
According to the JQC complaint, on her birthday last August, Peterson posted this on her official Christina J. public Instagram page. A picture of herself wearing a birthday tiara and listing her Cash App account. Quote, if anyone feels like sharing their quarantine wealth. When JQC investigators contacted the judge this year, the complaint says Peterson explained she thought that post was to her private personal page, and I was wondering on that day why I was getting Cash App from people I didn't know. The JQC said in her Instagram bio, Peterson called herself Judge-elect.
If it was done in public, it's a cardinal violation, which is an intolerable activity for a judge to do. A judge cannot stand up and say, I'm a judge, send me money.
Well, not unless you're a black woman, right? Because in today's society, if you're a black woman, you're allowed to get away with anything, okay? Because society feels that black women should not be held accountable or responsible for any of their actions because they are oppressed, right? They are victimized by the rest of society, or at least this is what they claim, okay? Despite the fact that we have a story here in which a black woman seems to kind of be getting away with things that her white counterparts probably would not be able to get away with. Like, for example, this woman was collecting fees as a part of her payment, okay? Her job is to collect fees. She was taking those fees and paying herself with those fees that basically rose her compensation to the highest in the state as a judge, really as any elected official, despite, again, being a black woman who's always marginalized and oppressed. She had no experience as a judge, but as soon as she got into office, essentially her pay was more than that of all of her peers because she decided that, hey, all these fees I'm collecting, they go to me. Again, despite her white counterparts and the people that came before her deciding that, hey, you know what? I'm not going to collect all these fees and give them to myself. That's probably not the right thing to do.
I'm looking for fairness across the board.
Then there is her salary. Because previous probate judge Hal Hamrick was not an attorney, and she is, Douglas County commissioners agreed with Peterson that she deserved an additional $36,000 supplement to her state pay. For the first-year judge, that made her salary $127,000 this year. Ann Jones-Guider voted no.
I said, why are you giving her a supplement? And they said, because we give it to the other judges. I said, the other judges don't make fees.
Most metro counties cap the vital records fees their probate judge can keep. Douglas County does not. Hamrick chose to take half of only the death certificate fees, bumping his overall pay to around $110,000 each year. Peterson decided to keep all the fees, both birth and death certificates. This year, combined with that increased salary, she's projected to make around $280,000.
That's probably more than the governor, isn't it?
Way more than the governor. More than Georgia's Supreme Court Chief Justice. Even more than Georgia's 2 U.S. senators.
Yeah, so you seen that, you heard that. Now, that's just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to the allegations against this woman, because some of the things that people are claiming that this woman is responsible for are very, very, very shocking, right? I mean, to be quite honest with you, I mean, this woman is as corrupt as they come. Again, to the point where she's essentially been found guilty of systemic incompetence. Okay, they're just waiting for the Georgia Supreme Court to actually remove her if they decide to do so. But she has been found guilty of systemic incompetence to the point where she has cost people their freedom. Okay, along with other very troubling allegations as well too. This is definitely not an example of black excellence. But without further ado, let's get into it.
Extraordinary development tonight in the long-running investigation into Douglas County Judge Christina Peterson.
In a rare move, a hearing panel decided Peterson is guilty of, quote, systemic incompetence and should not remain in office. Fox 5 I-Team reporter Randy Travis explains.
Judge, you want to take a break?
Christina Peterson did not do herself any favors during 7 days of hearings beginning last September. The JQC hearing panel's report criticized her for not taking any responsibility for the 30 counts of judicial misconduct lodged against her.
I just don't have memories of my dad. I don't know who he is.
The most troubling, wrote the panel, Peterson's decision to jail this woman for trying to amend her marriage certificate to include the real name of her recently discovered father.
Did you go to this hearing with any idea that you may be going to jail?
No.
PJ Skelton served 2 days of a 20-day jail sentence for contempt before her husband could pay a $500 fine. Such a hasty and shockingly disproportionate reaction is the hallmark of Peterson's intemperance, wrote the panel.
Yeah, so the word on the street is that this woman, the judge, ended up locking up this woman because she was not okay with this woman who appears to be of Asian descent dating a black man. Okay, now her husband is a black man. This woman comes into court just to do some routine paperwork where she's like, oh, okay, I know who my real father is, and I want the court records to reflect who my real father is when it comes to, marriage and whatnot. And it should have been something that's like easy, shuffling paperwork, hey, let's just get it done. Okay. Easy, quick fix. No. It had to end up with this woman being locked up. Okay. Unless her husband paid this fine after the judge said that, well, this woman lied under oath. Okay. Which is not true. I mean, she didn't know who her father was. But again, this judge allegedly had an issue with the fact that she married a black man, and this is why they put her through all of this stuff, including putting her in jail, which is extremely messed up. Now, again, this seems to be a case of racism, right? But the mainstream liberal media, just like the Tiffany Henyard story, they don't really want to touch it, right? They don't really want to talk about examples of racism coming from people who are not white, right? Which again, that allegedly is, the reasoning behind why this woman did what she did, but I don't really know that for sure. That's just the word on the street.
The report criticized Peterson's attempt at this meeting to get her HOA board to settle a lawsuit she had filed, even though she knew the HOA was represented by an attorney. Peterson's attempts to avoid responsibility for these clear violations bordered on the farcical, severely eroding her credibility with the hearing panel.
Yeah, and this story doesn't end here, right? It actually involves allegations that Ms. Peterson actually stole the settlement money. She kept the settlement money that she won for her client in a case that was upwards of $70,000.
Probate judge knows what she's talking about. Listen to her. She got 2 pending lawsuits against us right now.
The angry reaction to Peterson stems from a lawsuit she and others filed in 2017 against the HOA that led to a $70,000 settlement. According to a complaint filed against her by the Judicial Qualifications Commission, Peterson never shared that money with her clients.
You cannot go in this building, and eventually she went in.
The sheriff's office said Peterson ignored their orders and held a wedding after hours, allowing people inside without deputies present. She once hit a panic button when a deputy was late escorting her to court, causing a temporary panic among security. And when county staff criticized her actions, it quickly triggers allegations of obstructionism or even racism.
Of course, right? Of course. Because how else is she going to defend herself? This is what these people do every single time. Anytime they get caught doing something wrong, right? In this case, this woman just overtly corrupt, stealing money, begging for money on social media, even though she's a judge, paying herself with all the fees that she's collecting from people, which again is extremely corrupt, allegedly jailing non-black women for marrying black men, right? This is what the word on the street is. But yeah, when somebody goes to her and say, hey, listen, you are conducting judicial misconduct. You must be racist. Okay, you're criticizing me because I'm a black woman, right? This is what they do. It is just used to deflect criticism. As soon as people pull the race card, best believe they're guilty, right? They did it, okay? As soon as they start pulling the race card, you know they're guilty.
These communications and actions reveal a judge who publicly vilifies colleagues, is quick to threaten them with unnecessary legal action, and generally projects a spiteful and vainglorious persona.
I'm the first African-American female and Democrat. Yes. I was never celebrated or congratulated. On my day of swearing in, I was sworn in by Judge Emerson. I received my first JQC complaint.
Peterson's main defense was...
Wow. Imagine the narcissism. This story, it has all the elements that I tell you guys to look out for when it comes to these liberal women, okay? She is on her narcissist altar, her feminist altar, and her racialist altar. Okay, those are the three altars of liberal women: the racialist, the narcissist, and the feminist. Okay, she's embodying all three of these. Okay, and guess what it has led to? Nothing but chaos in this county in which she is working as a judge. Again, this is shameful. Absolutely shameful. But again, this is what happens when you get the first black such and such and such. They want to be praised and worshiped, right? As if, you know, it actually really means anything, okay? They haven't even done the job yet, but they want praise and worship. Oh, they didn't congratulate me for being the first black woman judge. I didn't get a party from the white people. I didn't get acknowledgement, right? This is what I try to tell you guys all the time. These so-called pro-blacks, all of them, for the most part, what they really want is acknowledgement from whites, right? They want that hug, right? They want a hug, okay? She's literally crying because she didn't get a hug from all the white people around her about being the first black female judge in, I don't know, the county or whatever, right? But again, be careful about making history, okay? Because this is what you get. Same thing with Tiffany Henyard, first black female mayor. And then guess what you got? You got chaos and destruction as a result. I'm just saying, man, at some point, people will catch on to this stuff, okay? When people are running on their skin color, their race, their gender, their sex, whether or not they like their genitalia, when they're running on these things, it's probably not a good sign, right? It's not a good sign because as soon as you get rid of them for not being qualified and incompetent, the first thing they'll do is pull the race card and say, oh, well, you don't like me because you're a racist, right? And I'm a black woman, so therefore, this is why you're accusing me of judicial misconduct. First day in office.
Was her inexperience as a judge, a problem she promised has been addressed through additional training. But the panel was not buying it. The report also cited multiple examples of failure to actually do her job, needlessly delaying petitions before her office. The hearing panel said Peterson was guilty of systemic incompetence. Judges are expected to act in a manner that promoted the integrity and impartiality of the judiciary. Respondent has shown that she cannot or will not do so, and so she must go.
Peterson has 20 business days to file exceptions to this report with the Georgia Supreme Court. They're the ones who will ultimately decide whether to take the recommendation to have her removed from office. I talked to her attorney, Lester Tate. He told me they disagree with the recommendation and they will take it to, quote, the next level. At the live desk, Randy Travis, Fox 5 News.
Yeah, so this is what has led up to this woman being arrested, right, for assaulting a police officer. Now, again, of course, her team says that she's innocent, that the charges should be dropped. I personally don't know. Based off her history, I'm inclined to believe that she probably got very emotional. Maybe people were fighting. She jumped in. I'm not entirely sure what happened, right? The details are scarce. But again, this is what she was accused of doing. I don't know if she's guilty or innocent. Okay, I mean, she is innocent until proven guilty, technically. But I'm just saying that based on her past history, I have doubts, right, about her defense, claiming that, you know, she was wrongfully charged or whatever. I'm just not surprised when any of these people who clearly should not be in these positions of power, they end up ultimately failing, and then they end up becoming a part of the system. It really is a damn shame that these types of individuals are the individuals that are being voted into office. But hey, you know, this is what they do, right? I mean, this is something that people are running on. They're running on identity politics, and identity politics just leads to this type of chaos that is happening out here in Georgia. I mean, not even just Georgia, but really all of these liberal cities around the country who have candidates just like her that are running on identity politics, and people aren't voting based off actual qualification and skill and professionalism when it comes to doing the job. So let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.